Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Hamza Yousaf and the SNP all like to show how virtuous they are. They like to show how they are doing their bit. They're saying to you that they haven't had a pay rise since 2009. And whilst it's true they haven't taken any more money home, let us look at that lie for what it is, because it is a lie. They have actually had a pay rise in line with inflation every single year. However, they are choosing to voluntarily reduce the money that they're getting. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not getting it. It means that they're still receiving it, but then handing it back. And that is very, very important. For you see, their pension contributions are based on the amount that they're getting at the top rate. Whether they hand it back or not is a different matter. Now, of course, they are, so that their effective take-home pay hasn't changed since 2009. However, their pensions are growing far, far larger than they would have if they'd simply not awarded themselves pay rises. It's not the same thing, you know. And of course, when we have a look at this article, you'll see it actually gets far worse than that. So don't believe the lies when they're saying, oh, look, we're being wonderful. We are not taking pay rises. We've frozen our salaries. That is a lie on two different counts. Take a look at this article and you can see why those lying liars continue to lie. Here goes. So Hamza Yousaf and his ministers will get gold-plated pensions despite the salary freeze boast. And it is only a boast because, as I say, they're not actually getting a salary freeze. They're just selecting that part over and above that they return willingly. They say willingly. You can guarantee some of them are rather unwilling about it. But it looks like on paper they haven't had a pay rise. But in actual fact, they've had massive pay rises. The SNP First Minister and his cabinet will be able to cash in a bountiful pension when they retire, as they're entitled to their boosted salaries, despite freezing it since 2009, which they haven't. They haven't frozen it. That's a lie. Hamza Yousaf and his government ministers will receive gold-plated pensions once they retire based on 2022-23 salaries, despite their salary freeze boast. That is to say that when they get their salaries, not only have they've already paid in at the higher rate than they would otherwise done, but going forward, their salaries are paid at the rate at which they're earning, now, not the rate they were earning 2009. And of course, it's index linked, which means it goes up with inflation anyway. So they're getting double bubble. They may only be taking back, this amount home per year now, but when they get their salaries, it's based on what they would have been taken. Plus, their salaries have gone up. Plus, their pensions have gone up because they're paying into their pensions at that higher rate. It is a scam. It is grift, and they're lying. They're telling you, salary freeze when it is no such thing. Salaries massively high. SNP ministers have refused to take their pay rises since 2009 after taking part in a voluntary pay freeze, with this cash being put back into the public coffers. MSP salaries rise steadily over every year, but those in the administration get to choose to sacrifice this to give back to the public purse. Now, let's clarify, like I said, it's not a pay freeze. They're still getting the uplift. Their salary goes up every year, and that is reflected on their pay slip. They're earning the higher rate. They're just electing to choose to pay back some of that money. But they're still getting it in the first place. So it's a lie that they're having a pay freeze. They're not. It means that while Mr Yousaf is entitled to $165,678 as First Minister, he will instead receive $135,605. Actually, that's not true. He will receive $165,000. He will then just pay back $30,000 of it, but after his pension has been taken out. You see the difference. Similarly, his cabinet secretaries will be paid $96,999, $97,000 instead of $118,500. And his bloated ministerial team, that's very unfair, isn't it? They can't help it. It's all those Gregs nearby. We'll get $81,500 rather than $100,000. As I say, they're still getting the $100,000. They're just choosing to pay back, in that case, $19,000. But they're still getting their salaries on it and things like that. And of course, it affects their pensions when they retire. So their pensions won't be the 81,000, based on the 81,000. The pensions will be based on the 100,000. It's a lot more, isn't it? However, a freedom of information request by the anti-nationalist group The Majority revealed that while they may be sacrificing their salary, their pensions will still be paid at the current rate. Now, this took an FOI. They had to go and get a freedom of information request because the SNP did not want to willingly give up that information. I wonder why. More secrets and lies from the Secret and Lie Party. This means that their nest egg for when they retire will come from their entitlement rather than what they actually take home. And the Scottish Parliament was asked about whether ministers were earning pension contributions paid at their current salary or their frozen 2008 rate. Retired Health Secretary Jean Freeman was used as an example. After she left government in 2021, and officials were asked whether her pension was based on her current wage or her frozen one. In response, an official wrote, "The provisions for payment of pension contributions and benefits are set in the Scottish Parliament Pensions Act 2009. Contributions are calculated on current salary levels, with pension benefits being calculated on the salary at the retirement date." And that is why she retired rather than getting fired. She retired at that high rate so she could take the pension, because if she'd been fired and gone back to a backbencher, she'd have got that rate as a backbencher rate, and that her pension would have been based on that, which is why she went, I'm a cabinet secretary now I'll retire. Because it was a deliberate grift to make sure she has enough money to spend the rest of her life in prison, perhaps. The Majority wrote, Humza Yousaf and SNP ministers made a big deal about not drawing any more pay than 2008. Yet their pension is being accrued at present rates and will pay out at the higher rate. Earlier this year, MSPs were handed a pay rise of 1.5%, which takes their annual salary to £67,500, and that's just backbenchers. This increase is in line with the average pay rise for public sector workers as measured by the annual Survey of Hours and Earnings Index. And the amount of money they're set to make and paid by Holyrood is in line with plans put forward by the Scottish Parliament corporate body. The increases for government ministers are deducted from net salaries and then paid directly to the Scottish Government to be made available for public spending. But it's still not honest, is it? It's not honest. They're lying. Oh, we've frozen our wages. No, your wages didn't freeze. You just merely choose to pay back some money. It's not the same thing. Liars, one and all. They can't help themselves, can they? Oh, look, there's Humza standing with all his friends. He's probably looking down at his feet because he's ashamed of what he's doing. He's not ashamed, is he? It's quite blatant. It's absolutely appalling. Anyway, I shall round this one off. I'll come up and we'll finish the video. But it is just absolute. They take us for fools, and we are not fools. Anyway, coming up. They are all greedy, grifter tosspots, aren't they? They're all in it for the money. They like to sit there and be virtuous. Oh, look at us, look at us, look at what we're doing. Meanwhile, stashing the cash every time. They don't want to do anything for the public good. They just want to make sure that they have got their stash well put away, ready for a rainy day, which for some may be sooner than they wish. Looking at you, Sturgeon. Looking at you, Freeman. Oh, can't wait to see what happens next with that one. But the fact is that they are liars. They are absolutely two-faced, barefaced liars. They just tell you one thing and do something else. They steal from you in plain sight. And they think they can get away with it. Well, now we know. Now we know what they are. They're all thieves. Every single one of them. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you've seen here on the channel, please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and remember, they're all in it for themselves and they don't give one toss about you. Bye.